Oregon being the number one team, Oregon being the number one seed,
yes,
deserved of that role. I don't think there shouldn't be any question to it and how actually really friggin' good the Ducks are. It's just Ohio State came out, executed to perfection, and shell-shocked the team to the point where it would be hard for anybody to come back from that.
Yeah, I think the reality is that Oregon would have been favored in the Rose Bowl, my hunch is, against everybody else in the field except for this Ohio State team. And I think they would have been favored over this Ohio State team if we did not see what Ohio State did to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I think it took the Tennessee win from Ohio State for Ohio State to be a favorite. Other than that, Oregon's favored over everybody else in the bracket. They just are. So, no, and that's why, from our perspective, that is, to this point, that is the signature win of the Ryan Day era. That's it. This one and the Clemson win with Justin, those are the two that jump out to me of, wow, that's handling your business. And both in emphatic fashion. That win against Clemson was, and this one was too. Like, these are ones you're going to look back on very, very fondly. In terms of the path for Ohio State, it's I think from Ohio State's perspective, it's like, okay, who's next? I don't think it matters at this point. Once you get to a national semifinal, it's Texas. By the way, Texas got punched in the mouth by Arizona State. They could have gone up 21-0 in that game and got punched in the mouth over and over and over again and survived overtime against Arizona State. Survived. So they got a lot to question. I feel very confident from the Ohio State perspective with this opportunity down in Dallas next Friday. To me, there's a lot of hay to be made in that one. And then by the time you get to a national title, you're going to play a real team. The question is it Penn State, Notre Dame, or Georgia? That's the one going forward. But Ohio State is the favorite. I'm assuming they're the betting favorite by a decent margin heading into by the time we get to the semifinals.
Yeah,
so.
ESPN Bet has them, I think, well above the two of the, I guess, would be four other teams that technically have a chance. I think Ohio State has the best betting odds. I'm interested to see if Georgia continues the trend of teams with the bye coming out to very sluggish starts and then trying as best they could to make runs of it in the second half.
That has been a constant throughout. Something to watch for this afternoon in that game between Notre Dame and Georgia. We're playing that game this afternoon because of the incredible tragedy down in New Orleans. Paul Finebaum has been down in New Orleans for all of it. We'll get his view on everything that happened and what he saw yesterday in the two college football playoff games coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution. Because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Check out our Fresh Tyson Chicken full line sale. Select varieties or buy one, get one free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You might not consider yourself a tech expert, but that doesn't mean you can't protect yourself from online scammers with a little help from McAfee Total Protection. Whether it's a fake missed delivery text or an urgent bank alert, these scams can look incredibly convincing. That's where McAfee Total Protection steps in. So go ahead, manage your finances and shop online. McAfee will help keep your device's privacy and identity safer. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum.
Indeed it is, and Paul joins on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Normally we would, and we will do some football. You were in New Orleans. You're still in New Orleans, my friend. What was the last 24 hours like for you?
Bo, it was surreal, which sounds like a normal response, but what was particularly interesting is even yesterday while football was going on, it wasn't on every TV set as you walk past bars. Cable networks where and local news was really more prevalent. And it's, listen, I've done a lot of things we all have. We've seen the earthquake at the World Series, and we've seen hurricanes affect things, but nothing quite like this, considering that both of the teams were within about, 30, 40 yards of the street where the terrorists turned. And for almost the entire day, no one knew anything, and that's all you got, walking through lobbies and walking outside. Is the game on? Does anybody know? Are we safe? I mean, you've seen it all on TV, but to experience it was unlike anything I really have ever encountered.
Your teammate Lauren Rutledge did just a stunning job of reporting on what was happening, as the rest of us who weren't in New Orleans were consuming football and becoming more and more aware of what else was going on. As you were covering it from your perspective and following it from your perspective, when did it change from, oh my God, random act of violence, to terrorists, to we've got to postpone this game?
I think when everyone woke up, and I was up early doing stuff for ESPN, I mean, you saw the reports, but the assumption was that some lunatic on New Year's Eve, doing this. And so while there was terror and horror, it wasn't until a little bit later when it went from a random act of some crazed person on New Year's Eve to something that scared everyone out of their mind. And I think that was the turning point. And about mid-morning, I was doing something for the SEC network, and I ran into an ESPN executive, someone very high up, and that was the first time I started to grasp it, because at that moment the person was telling me there may not be a game today, and I'm like, and you just have to. We're in this. I mean, we're so far in it, we can't imagine that a game wouldn't be played. Right. And that was the moment when chaos started to reign, I should say, and for the next couple of hours, nobody knew anything, and that's all you got. What's the update? Is the game on? Is the game off? And then finally, early afternoon, and then there was really some conversation of either moving the game, and then you got commissioners and CFP people involved, because the coaches, even though they were horrified like you were and I was. They're thinking Penn State's now sitting at home in Pennsylvania, ready to go to Miami, and we don't even know when our game is.
Well, that's just it. I mean, and that's the thing you got to do. And we do this. We've been doing this long enough. There is the event and the tragedy around it, and then there's like, okay, what do we do next? And so I saw the comments from the Louisiana Attorney General saying, I'd like another 24 hours before we played the game. Meantime, you got coaches saying we have got to play. And I saw Marcus and Kirby, and they had incredible grace in dealing with the tragedy and their availabilities they did on ESPN yesterday. But how serious was their consideration? Was there consideration from, as you understand it, to even maybe swap the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl, and so that there was a little bit more time for the winner of the game this afternoon?
As of late last night, I heard that conversation was ongoing at the highest level. The issue, certainly the Cowboys stadium is not a threat for a playoff game, but Miami is. And that's why they could not agree, and I don't think they will, although I can tell you it reached the highest level of the CFP, and the conversations were ongoing, and you can imagine that the coaches, both coaches, were pushing hard for that. But ultimately, I don't think that will change. And then there was another conversation that was pretty heated and that was when to play the game. Obviously, the company I work for preferred the game to be in prime time. I mean, this was a marquee game of epic proportion, and the coaches were adamant. And I don't know Marcus Freeman that well, but I do know Kirby Smart, and I could almost hear him from my hotel saying, "We're not playing at night." They were considering 1 o'clock, and then they just finally were able to compromise with the 4 o'clock Eastern time start.
Man. What was it like for the two teams as you understand it yesterday?
I think everyone gets up a little bit later on New Year's Day, and I think that was always going to be the plan when you're not playing till almost 9 o'clock at night. But the notification started. Listen, everybody has a phone, and everybody got some sort of notification. Doesn't matter what you subscribe to. And I think there was that early on that the players were told they couldn't leave the hotel. I ran into in my hotel, which is a block away. I ran into the parents of one of the Georgia players, and they had just gone and visited their son. And the father described that his son, they were all scared. I mean, they didn't know. Nobody knew. And let me stress, if you have familiarity with the French Quarter, the two-team hotels, were the Marriott and the Sheraton. They're on Canal, literally a half a block away from Bourbon Street. So it is. And you would think, if you're a player, even though you can't get in those hotels, you've been to those hotels many times. It's still a scary thought because until really late afternoon, nobody knew anything. And what was really surreal too was I did our show yesterday from the field. We originally were going to be at a restaurant. And already the security, there was nobody in that place. As we went off the air, the teams were about to come in. That's why we had to cut our show short. But the security just to get into an empty stadium took 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm told today you will not be able to take a car anywhere near the Superdome. They're going to be blocking off many streets. And really what this is all about is we're 6 weeks away from the Super Bowl, actually less than that. And as big as the Sugar Bowl is, the Super Bowl is about 10 times bigger.
I was there in 2001, the Super Bowl after 9/11, and they had Tomahawk choppers that were flying over the Superdome, and you had to walk about the last 4 or 5 blocks. There was no motorized vehicles anywhere around it. I'm guessing that's what they'll do again in reaction to this, Paul. How much of the games yesterday, I know you're doing your job, there's all this stuff going on. How much of what happened yesterday were you able to consume?
Very little. I was in my hotel room, but we didn't know what was going on, so we were trying. You had your eye in the game. I actually watched the end of the Peach Bowl while we were on the air. And it was you've done that before. It's a little bit hard to keep up with it. And obviously by the time we wrapped up and I got back to my hotel, the Rose Bowl was 34-0. So I can't tell you I was glued to it. No,
it wasn't. And I remember, obviously we have you on every single Thursday, and for much of this season, I would ask you the question, and I would usually end the interview with this, who's the best team in America right now? And more oftentimes than not, you would say Ohio State. At their best, they probably are. It's interesting because their best the last 2 weeks has been nothing short of overwhelming, and while you didn't see the game, you had to be pretty surprised to see 34-0 against the number one team in the country.
Yeah, not only are they the best team in the country and have really been all but maybe a week or two during the year, they're not even in the same league with anyone else at the moment.
No.
Yeah, I was skeptical going into yesterday because can the same team show up every week, and so far they have. They have 2 more shots at it, but I'd be hard pressed to say they can't pull it off.
What do you make of this one this afternoon? Did the events of yesterday change it at all, or is your read kind of the same on how you think this will go this afternoon?
Yeah, I don't think. I think if anything, it probably gave Notre Dame a little bit of help. Another day of rest, considering they have played in the last month. I don't know. I felt like it was a negative for Georgia, maybe because Kirby Smart's father, by the way, fell down outside the hotel yesterday and had to have hip surgery. So, I think there's a little bit of distraction. You just don't know how a team who's already sitting around all day and then has to do it again. I mean, this isn't baseball. This is, football. It shouldn't affect you very, very much. But most Georgia fans with whom I visited with are very nervous. And for all the bravado about Gunnar Stockton, let's be honest, I don't know how you can have confidence in a guy starting his first game in the biggest game of the year.
No. What do you expect? When you talk to the folks at Georgia, what do they expect out of him? What type of player is he, Paul? I'll get you out of here on that one.
He's a scrappy player. I'm told by coaches that he's actually a pretty good passer. The only solace is that Carson Beck wasn't good this year. He was good in a couple of spots, but he had a very bad year. Georgia's salvation today is Trevor Etienne. He at his best, he's one of the top running backs in the country. He's been hurt all year. Expect to see him a lot today.
All right, buddy. Glad you're safe. Appreciate you joining us and detailing yesterday. Surreal. That's the only word. It's there for a reason. Appreciate your time. Happy New Year, buddy, and get home safe after you're done with your work today.
A pleasure. Thank you, Bob.
All right, that's Paul Finebaum of the Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN joining us from New Orleans. The Sugar Bowl game is this afternoon at 4. I believe we have that on an ESPN 1460. You'll be able to listen to that there, that broadcast of the Georgia Dogs and Notre Dame. We'll do a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Struggling with high cloud hosting costs and endless management headaches with your Microsoft Azure or AWS environment? Contact AmericanEagle.com for an assessment and see how they can save you time and money.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
1, 2, 3. Here at the Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Reaction Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Wednesday, Bryce James, the younger son of LeBron, committed to Arizona as part of the Wildcats class of 2025. James made the announcement on Instagram with the caption, 100% committed. Bryce is a four-star prospect from Sierra Canyon and held offers from Ohio State and Duquesne. The Dukes were his first offer. They extended it back in 2022. James took an unofficial visit to Ohio State in the fall of 2023. Thing or not a thing?
So the Duquesne part of it is LeBron's former point guard is the head coach at Duquesne. Keith Dambrod, who was James' original coach at St. Vincent St. Mary, then went to Akron and then went to Duquesne. I'm blanking on the name of the point guard who was his point guard.
Drew
at St.
Joyce.
Vincent. Thank you. Good job out of you. Drew Joyce Jr. was he's the head coach at Duquesne, so that's what that's all about. This is what's interesting on Bryce James. Obviously, financially, he's totally set. Just as Bronny was. Does NIL make it to something where he could create like a legitimate legacy at Arizona while being compensated incredibly richly for it? Because the evaluation on Bronny James was number one in all of college athletics. It was him and Arch Manning were the two guys who could make the most on NIL if they wanted to. He played one season at USC, didn't do much, and went to the Lakers. They made sure they ended up the Lakers, which is fine. I don't know that Bryce has any sort of NBA abilities. Wouldn't stop him from getting on a G League team, potentially even with the Lakers. Hell, LeBron played with both of his kids. Who knows? But there might be a better play here where you play 4 years at Arizona, make a bunch of money, and become like a dude. So I think that would be a fascinating thing for me that will be a fascinating thing for me to see how that plays out.
Yeah, so the funny thing for me about this was that LeBron made a huge deal about playing with Bronny. And I'm like, what about your other son who's like only 2 years younger than him? And so I'm like, if you're going to play that long, if you're going to play 20 years to make it to Bronny, what's two more? So that was something that I was kind of got a kick out of. And then I think he just had comments last week talking about, this is almost like a copy and paste of what Brady said about, I think I got 5 to 7 years left in me. So who knows what that means? But I always did kind of find it funny that he was hell-bent on making sure that he and Bronny saw the court together. And I'm like, there's another son who I think is like 4 inches taller who may or may not have some viability for an NBA career. And I think the evidence is out there that whether you do or don't, if you're LeBron James' son, you can. So why not do it twice? I'm like, there's a little bit of favoritism going on.
Cole, you don't have children that you know, right? That you know of?
Not that I know of.
I used to always use that line. I don't have children that I know of. Look, you're going to have favorites. It just happens. I tease the boys constantly. Now, what I do is I will say, I'll tell them each individually, you know you're my favorite. And then I'll tell the other one, you know you're my favorite, so that they all think they are.
It's a good grenade.
It is. Yeah, it's nice.
Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley is 101 yards shy of breaking Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record set back in 1984. The Eagles play the Giants Sunday at 1, but Nick Sirianni is going to rest Saquon for Week 18 as the Eagles have higher aspirations. Barkley, I'll paraphrase, says he's all right with that because he's got the bigger picture in mind. A thing or not a thing?
Well, it's I like it if you go win the Super Bowl, right? But if you don't, like he is missing a chance at immortality here. You set that rushing record. I mean, that thing's been there, what's that, 84? Dickerson did that? That's
nobody touches
it.
Yep.
You know? I don't know if anybody will get near it again. It's been a while since we've had somebody get near it, but I understand it from the team perspective, but I also think, like, sometimes we're a little too... Now, they gave him every carry in the second half to get him over 2,000 yards last week. It's definitely a choice. It's a thing. There's no question it's a thing. I don't know what's right or wrong about it, but to go down as the single-season all-time NFL rushing record holder, I do wonder if part of the fact that you're playing 17 games and Dickerson played 16 weighed in, because it's almost like the record would have an asterisk either way. And maybe they feel like it'd be minimized. I don't know. It's definitely a thing. It's a choice.
Yeah, I'm split on this one. So here's why I don't like this. I don't like it for everything that you just said. I know that there are greater things to chase in terms of the postseason, but if you have the chance to make history, even if it's in the regular season, I think that's important. Now, why I like this is because I don't like that Saquon Barkley would have had one more game to do it. And now that they're expanding the regular season, that it's so much easier to break records in this era than it was previously. So in terms of just standardizing it across 16 games, that I think is fair, and it plays in Eric Dickerson's favor, but it's actually more just that way in my mind.
I really don't see any scenario where, look, I know why they did it. I don't see why the NFL thinks it needs to play 17 regular season games and eventually 18.
Eventually 20. I'm telling you, they're going to get rid of every single one of those preseason games and make them all regular season games.
Mike said this a while ago, and I mean, it's a really big picture. First time he said it, I was like, what, really? And then you start to marinate on it, and it does make sense. He could see him playing 30 and playing basically like Premier League soccer and playing from August to May and playing year-round and kind of taking full advantage of that. I don't know if you'll ever get there. The physicality is incredible, but I wouldn't put it past anything with these owners. I really wouldn't. So, yeah, they're going to get to 20. To me, 16 was sweet. If you want to extend the season, just go 2 bye weeks on it. Hell, give 3 bye weeks. These teams are battered at this point. So we're never going to go back to that. So it just is what it is. But it does make the record-chasing stuff kind of nonsensical.
Could you imagine how big the contracts are going to be in that sport if they go to 30 games?
Buddy,
the amount of revenue?
Just wait even next time when they go at it, when they go to 18, if they actually allow Amazon, Apple, and Netflix and YouTube to bid, like truly bid. They never let them bid, really. They let them take, all right, you can have a Thursday night or you can have some Christmas games. They never let them bid for the full boat. If they do the next time around, if they say, we're going to go that route, then I think what will happen is you'll have, whether it's Apple, YouTube, Google, Netflix, Amazon, I think you'll see them buy networks is what you'll see. and then that's what'll happen, because if they trigger that, the numbers are going to they're going to dwarf anything. I mean, they could go tenfold what they are now. It's the only thing that you can count on is football. NFL football primarily, college football secondarily. Like, that's it. There's nothing else that's guaranteed that are monster ratings, those two entities.
Speaking of numbers, Matt Zenitz covers college football for 24/7 Sports and says the increase in December portal entries from 2023 to 2024 was 795 players. So in this past portal window, 2,031 players entered compared to 1,236 in 2023. 2023 number is up 188 from 2022. That was 1,048. Again, this is all in the winter portal period. Thing or not a thing?
It's a thing, obviously. We spend so much time at the very highest level of the sport. But at the lower level of the sport, it is truly a mad scramble to put together rosters, keep your rosters together. It's really a mess. It's really a mess. The whole thing is. So it's definitely a thing. Those numbers are staggering. It's interesting how everyone has gravitated to this window rather than the spring window so that you get the spring football thing. But hopefully some people smart, I'm not optimistic of this, but hopefully some people smart get this calendar fixed in like now. Because I cannot imagine being a coach at Ohio State, a coach at Notre Dame, coach at Georgia, the teams that are still playing. What has your last month been like? I mean, can you even be afforded to sleep? What a mess. Absolute mess. All right. I don't know if... Don't get your Sharpies out. Let's just say that. Reese and I are going to pick the final week of the NFL. I have no idea who's trying or who's not. We have no idea who's playing or who not. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. This is going to be a mess. I am not anticipating a good showing out of either one of us. It'll be mostly guesswork, but we will attempt to beat the house coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, I'm Brett Podolsky, co-founder of The Farmer's Dog. We make fresh food for dogs. We started the company when we saw what a huge difference it made in my own dog, Jada, when she stopped eating ultra-processed kibble and started eating fresh, whole food. The Farmer's Dog food isn't fancy. It's just real food delivered to your door in pre-portioned packs. It's better for them and easier for you.
Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/trial50. That's thefarmersdog.com/trial50.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The final ticket to the CFP semifinal will be punched today in New Orleans. Georgia battles Notre Dame at 4 o'clock in the Sugar Bowl quarterfinal. Hear that one over on ESPN Columbus. That's 1460 on the AM radio dial. Today's winner advances to the Orange Bowl semifinal next Thursday to battle Penn State. The Cotton Bowl is the other semifinal game that'll be played in Dallas next Friday night at 7:30. Ohio State's a 6-point favorite over Texas. The Buckeyes advanced with a 41-21 win over number 1 Oregon last night in the Rose Bowl. Will Howard threw 3 touchdowns, and the Buckeyes defense sacked Dylan Gabriel 8 times. The Texas Longhorns escaped Atlanta yesterday with a 39-34 double OT win over Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. In college hoops, Ohio State looks to make it 3 straight, hosting number 18 Michigan State tomorrow night at 8. And in the NHL, the Blue Jackets host the Red Wings tonight at 7, the second of a 3-game homestand. You can hear tonight's game with coverage at 6:30 and breaking sports news as it happens, all on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour on a Thursday edition. Pete Sampson, our buddy at The Athletic on the Notre Dame side of things, coming up 30 minutes from now. Before we attempt to beat the house, if you missed our interview with Paul Finebaum, we've put it out throughout all of the social channels, and obviously show is podcasted wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to it there. He said something that really resonated, many things in terms of the experience of the last 24 hours down in New Orleans, but the notion that late last night there were still very heated conversations about trying to find a way to swap the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. So as it currently sits, Ohio State plays Texas next Friday in Dallas. So they'd have to do this pronto if they were going to. Unfortunately, they're not going to know the results of Miami's game until Sunday. And the reason for not doing it, the biggest holdup is that the Miami Dolphins could be in a playoff game somehow. I don't know how that could be a home game, but that is one of the things that is prohibiting them from making the switch. But there's real concern from a football perspective. Please hear that correctly. From a football perspective, that from the Notre Dame Georgia side, hey man, not only do they have 2 days extra rest on us in Penn State, but now we are also playing on a short week. So they can't do anything about the 2 days rest, but they can do something about the short week. We'll see if something comes from that. Yeah, the Dolphins are on the road no matter what. If they get in, they would be on the road. So there's no scenario there that would prohibit them from flopping those games. So something to watch for, and Paul would know, as the people he's talking to are the people that are most likely making those decisions. All right, time to attempt to beat the house. Hit it.
Beat the house.
All right. I'm just going to say this. Like, the record that we have now is the record. These are the records for the year. So you finished 44 games over 500, picking 16 weeks of NFL play. I finished 28 games over 500, picking 16 weeks of NFL play, every game against the number. The reason I'm saying that is, if this goes well this week, it's pure dumb luck. And if it goes bad this week, it's pure dumb luck. Nobody should wager on this weekend. I mean, really. Unless you just want to have an entertaining weekend with our friends at ESPN Bet, because this is nuts to try to project who's playing, who cares, who doesn't. Do you pull guys? So we'll do it, but take that as your warning.
All right, let's take our best guess at this one. I think the Ravens are playing their players because they are 17.5-point favorites as they welcome Cleveland to Baltimore. Tomorrow, by the way. I'm sorry, what day is it? It's Thursday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Bootsy said that to me today, too, Cole. He's like, "It's today Saturday, Dad?"
Dude,
no,
I don't know what day it is with these midweek holidays.
It's awful. Baltimore is playing their guys. Cleveland's down a ton. I think it's going to be Bailey Zappi. I don't know. It's be an improvement over DTR. Baltimore needs to win. They win the division. I think they bury them. I do. I got Baltimore big in this one. I have no problem throwing 17.5.
Yeah, I don't either. I think this game that Baltimore wins by 21 points because, like you just said, they win. They're champions in the AFC North. I think Lamar wants to put a final exclamation point on an MVP caliber season. I mean, he's got better numbers than when he won the MVP, not once but twice. So I think this for him, is sorry, Cleveland, that you got put into this spot. But yeah, they're going to start Bailey Zappi on the road against a team that wants to grind their bones to make their bread.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Yeah.
I promise you both teams in this one are playing all their stars. Bengals -1.5 going to Acrisure in Pittsburgh.
I really can't believe this one, Reese. I know you're on first. I can't believe this one was not played at the same time as the Miami game and the Denver game, because they're all linked. And the fact that Cincinnati is playing before is odd to me. Go ahead.
Give me Cincinnati here. Pittsburgh's last 3 weeks have been really rough. Cincinnati needs this game. I think they've got like a 9% chance to make the postseason. But this is one where Joe Burrow wants those numbers. He wants Jamar Chase to get the Triple Crown. I think he wants T. Higgins. He wants to at least prove. Somehow he's still got to prove to the organization that T. Higgins is worth a damn. I don't know why, but this is that.
I see it that way as well. And the other factor in this is if Baltimore beats Cleveland, as we project that they will, Pittsburgh is really playing for nothing, and they would be honestly better served as the 5 seed. I mean, I'd much rather play Houston down in Houston than have to play potentially who's the other side of that? That potentially could be a beast of a game. It could be the Chargers. So I would much rather give me that. If I'm Pittsburgh, give me that.
Moving on to Sunday, we got Panthers at Falcons. Falcons -7.5. Iron Eagle and Charles Davis.
I like Penix. I like the Falcons. The number's a little bit big, but I think they'll play well at home. They blew it last week against Washington, but I think they'll rally behind the rookie. Give me Atlanta to cover the 7.5.
I like Atlanta to win, but the 7.5 is just a little too big. The Panthers have been out for weeks, yet they've still shown some fight. So I think Atlanta wins. 7.5 is too big for me.
Washington's going to be -5 going to Dallas.
I think the Commanders are better right now, and they're playing for a playoff spot. I think the Cowboys folded last week. So give me the Commanders -5 here.
Yeah, this is, again, why. I mean, this is honestly guesswork. You have no idea.
I flipped a coin for this one.
I think they're probably playing for seeding still a little bit. The 6 potentially could get you Tampa Bay or the Rams if you're the 7, which is what Green Bay is currently. So I think, well, that would get you Philly. So give me Washington to cover. Washington motivated.
This one's going to be just for seeding, I believe. The Packers are -10 at home against the Bears. As it currently stands, the Packers would face the Eagles. And if they somehow flip with the Commanders, they would probably get the Rams, who they probably want.
Yeah, it's a big, big number. But Chicago's got a lot of quit in them. Give me the Packers.
Same.
Titans -1 at the Texans. Kind of makes you think that the Texans are not playing a soul.
Well, this is going to be, do you want to win or do I? And the honest answer is Tennessee doesn't, Reese.
I see it the exact same way, where I just don't think Tennessee right now should win this game.
I mean, there are 3 teams at 3-13, Cleveland, Tennessee, and the Patriots.
Yep.
I guess the Giants are there too, but Tennessee has the tiebreak.
Give me the Texans +1.
Yeah, I think if you're Tennessee, you almost have to just, I don't know, make damn sure you lose.
And on the other side of the AFC South, we got the Jaguars at the Colts. Colts -5. And if I'm not mistaken, neither team are playing for anything except possibly a Jaguars draft pick.
Gross. I don't know. Mac Jones, I guess, is playing. So give me Jacksonville to cover.
Same. I don't put any money on this. I doubt
Stay away from
my eyeballs will even touch it.
Is Brady Quinn calling this game?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he?
Jason Benetti and Brady Quinn are on the Fox call.
There we go.
Wonder what he hasn't called NFL games this year, has he?
I don't think Benetti has either. He's in college with Brock Heward.
They're getting stretched because I think college basketball. I don't know. I'm
so
just
strange.
Guessing as to why, but
yeah,
that's your broadcast.
Bills -2.5 at the Patriots, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Patriots currently hold the #1 pick.
They do, and they'll make damn sure they keep it. Buffalo by a field goal. Looks by that number tells me Buffalo's playing nobody.
Yeah, I got a field goal in this. Let me take the road team.
If Saquon Barkley's not playing, a lot of other people probably aren't. The Eagles are a slim 2.5-point favorite at home against the Giants.
I do think that Philadelphia, I think they win. I think they win by a field goal. I think they want to, whoever's playing, and it looks like it's their backups, are still probably better than whoever New York's going to throw out there.
I'm going to just say that maybe Daboll's going out of spite here. And they won last week inexplicably. I think they win again, and I think it costs them more draft picks. Give me the Giants, and again, buyer beware on all of this.
The Buccaneers are 13.5-point favorites against the dreadful New Orleans Saints.
I wanted to think, like, New Orleans cannot play offensive football. So Baker's going to throw for 360 and 4 scores. I was trying to think, what's the number that would make me even think about this? And I think it's like 21.5. I honestly think that's how big it would have to be.
Same. I think Baker came out and said that he wanted to get Mike Evans over 1,000 yards this season. They're going to go for it.
Because they're still playing for stuff, too. They could play for the 3 seed. Yep. There's a lot at stake for them.
Give me the Buccaneers minus 13.5.
4:25 slot now. Chiefs at Broncos. Broncos are minus 10. Nance and Romo. Minus 10.5.
Flip the coin.
Obviously. Yeah, flip it. Go ahead.
Is it you or me for this? I've lost track. But I flipped a coin, and it said Kansas City plus the 10.5.
I went the same way. No rhyme or reason.
Chargers are minus 5, going to the Death Star in Vegas.
Well, Chargers still playing for things. They're playing for seeding. And I would think that the highest they can go is where they could go to 5. The Chargers could go for 5, especially if Pittsburgh loses. So I think you're going to get motivated Chargers. Give me the Chargers. I'll throw 5.
Go Chargers, go.
Seahawks minus 6.5 at the Rams. Seahawks were eliminated last week. If the spread's this big, got to think the Rams aren't playing anybody.
But they should.
That's what I was saying. Like, why is Seattle a 6.5-point favorite?
The Rams would drop, yeah, I mean, the Rams would drop to the 4 with a loss if Tampa Bay wins. They have the potential to do that.
Give me the Rams here.
Yeah, the Buccaneers, wouldn't they have a tiebreaker?
Yeah, I like the Rams too.
Well, I can't explain that one, but I'm not the one picking it, so that's your problem. Dolphins minus 1 at the Jets in what is being billed as possibly Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL.
Do we know if Tua's playing?
I don't think they do.
That line would lead me to believe no.
He's dealing with a hip injury.
Still, Miami wins.
Yeah, I think so too.
San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona is going to be minus 4.
The Cardinals still alive for a playoff spot? Or am I reading that wrong?
I think they're cooked.
All right, give me the Niners.
Yeah, Niners too. They played really well for a half against Detroit. I think they carry it.
And fighting for the 1 seed. If the Lions threw everything they had at last week, I can only imagine what's going to be in store for Sunday Night Football. Vikings at Lions. Lions minus 3.
Give me the Leos. Leos at home. They get the win. They get the 1 seed.
I like the Lions to win, but give me the Vikes to cover here.
And just please, folks, be careful. I mean, this is... You just don't know. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, we say it's said a lot. You're waiting all day for Sunday night. This is actually that case because nothing else in the day Sunday interests me. Sunday night's the only thing I care about.
Cincinnati at Pittsburgh has value. There's some seeding value in the Washington, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay game. And then in the AFC, Denver and Miami matter. That's kind of where it is. Those are kind of the games, but then obviously the Sunday nighter is for a lot of the marbles. The college football playoffs so far, what some have gotten right, what I got really, really wrong, a mea culpa from your Uncle Bo coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
In the U.S., there are about 60 million adults 65 and older. And last year, nearly 1 million of them were hospitalized due to flu, COVID, or RSV. That's nearly 1 million people who planned to go visit family or see friends, but ended up in the hospital instead. So get this season's vaccines and don't let flu, COVID, or RSV make you just another number.
Risk less. Do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
Buy one, get one specials from Meijer help make life a good deal better. Plus, save on items that may help you keep your New Year's resolutions. Meijer Wellness brand vitamins and supplements are buy one, get one free. Select protein products are buy one, get one 50% off. And Rubbermaid Take-Alongs storage products are buy one, get one 40% off. Get your new year off to a good start with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app for details.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Dry out there right now, but snow is in the forecast late tonight going into Friday morning. Could see a quick dusting to an inch early tomorrow. Cold tonight with a low of 25. Tomorrow's high 32. And then a bitter blast of cold air this weekend. Friday night, we get down to 18. Saturday, only 26 for your high. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
My kids are looking at the extended. You heard that from Dylan Robichaud about the weather, the Arctic blast that's coming, and it looks like we're going to be in it for a little while. 2 things. One, they were watching the Rose Bowl and goes, boy, that looks nice. And yeah, it is. That's the thing about the Rose Bowl. Like, that's their weather every day. We see it and we're like, oh my God, how beautiful. The sun's setting over the San Gabriels. It's 70 degrees. Well, that's every day. That's Pasadena. That's what you get. That's like that. So you understand the appeal, certainly. But also then they start to get excited because there's a cold threshold where they do not go to school because of the buses. So if it gets below the high, if the high gets so low, like somewhere in the teens, and there's a chance for that over the next couple of weeks, then their school is shut down.
Soft.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
That's where it's at, man. All right. The score is 14-3. And Sam Levitt throws an interception. And you say, okay, well, that went about the way that I thought it would go. And Texas was going to go up 21-0. I can't remember if it was an interception or a fumble. It was a turnover. And you say, well, this is going to go about the way that I thought. Texas is going to cover, and they're going to go up 21-3. And it's going to be a big chase the rest of the way for Arizona State. And quite honestly, the way Texas was tackling and the way that they were putting pressure on in that game, it would be hard-pressed for anyone to think that Arizona State was going to come back. So much so that your favorite uncle was quick to be chesty on social, saying, quote, I got folks in our YouTube chat telling me Zona State is going to make me eat my words. Well, I'm waiting. They damn near did, and honestly did. I even had to retweet. I retweeted a Cold Takes Exposed, my tweet, because it was off. Now, was how much of that was give a damn and effort and heart and all of those things? And I'll tell you, by the time this thing was done, I was rooting so hard for Texas just because I couldn't, and I love him, but Tessitore would, the Scadaboo.
How many times did Sparky have life? I mean, a lot.
I mean, it was just overwhelming. And Tess is great, but oh my God. I mean, how many times you got to see Scadaboo's dad? Like every play, you'd get a shot of the dad. It was a lot. All of that to say, Sam Levitt is a slippery character. They had him on the run a lot, and he bought time a lot, and he made clutch plays a lot. The fearlessness with which Dillingham coaches the game, the fake punt flipped it. It was a mentality flip that happened with the fake punt. It flipped it, and it gave him a chance. And that was noteworthy for me. And Cam Scadaboo is quite honestly a bear to tackle. He might actually be a bear. That's in play, too. Threw a 42-yard touchdown in this game, too, on a halfback pass. 30 carries for 143. It was fourth down. 30 carries for 143. Texas could not get off the field. Texas couldn't run the ball, which was puzzling to me. Texas ran it 30 times for 53 yards. They couldn't run it. They couldn't kick it. That kid who usually makes all the field goals couldn't kick it. Missed 2 field goals. One at the end of regulation, then one in the first overtime. What was crazy is the play that led up to the Texas touchdown and eventual 2-point conversion in overtime, I missed in real time because I had flipped over to the start of Ohio State, and I was trying to time it to flip back and forth to both of them. And I couldn't put one on the streamer because I knew it would be way behind. So I missed the play that led to the Texas touchdown to put them up 8. Missed that. But give Dillingham all the credit in the world, the give-a-damn that his team has, the fearlessness with which he coached, the fourth down conversions, the way that he went at it, I thought was inspiring. I have no idea if it's something that can be long-term at Arizona State. History would tell us no. But that was an inspiring effort out of Levitt. It was an inspiring effort out of Scadaboo. And Quinn Ewers made the plays when he had to. All of the reporting last night was that he checked into the fourth down play that got them the touchdown to put them to give them the touchdown in overtime. The first overtime on fourth down that he audibled into that. That's a pretty money job out of him. For all that we heard about Texas's defense, Arizona State went for 5-10. 5-10 against them.
I think Scadaboo was like 284 yards of that.
Well, total yards, he's got to be. He was 143 on the ground. He had another 42 through the air. How many catches? He was targeted like,
yeah.
Let me pull it up. What are his targets in this thing? My God, he had receiving, he had 8 for 99. So for sure. I mean, he's 242. He's 284 total offense. One dude.
To your point, like that's where you would hope a team like that goes, 3-9, 3-9, and then college football playoff would have success, but Dillingham's going to get poached. Someone's coming calling for that guy.
I would think. Didn't he already transfer once? Wasn't he Michigan State?
Levitt, yeah.
Oh, Levitt, yeah. But I mean the head coach at Arizona State.
Dillingham. Yeah. So he was he just signed an extension, though. He was the offensive coordinator at Florida State under Mike Norvell. He's 34 years old, got the job at Arizona State, just did a contract extension. I remember talking to Ari Wasserman, our buddy at The Athletic, a long time, and I think he's at On3 now, long time ago, about sleeping giants in the sport. And the one that he actually wrote a story on it. I remember him and I talking about it in a press box once, and the team that he picked was Arizona State. That Arizona State could be a sleeping giant. Now, I have no idea what their NIL is like. I have no idea how aggressive they can be on that. But what I will tell you is, if you've been to Scottsdale, Tempe, that side of Phoenix, it's a damn nice place to live. So if you can get kids to visit, as you can probably imagine at a place like Arizona State, the co-ed situation is pretty good. So it's one of those places where if you can get them to visit and you've got some NIL for them, you could see it. They just have never done it historically. I thought it was really cool that Jake Plummer was out there. I haven't thought about Jake Plummer in years.
That was a cool callback.
That was very cool to have him in the mix. And, yeah, I got to give full marks to them, to Arizona State for the fight, because you're down 17-3 at half. Texas was up 16 in the fourth quarter, and they just kept coming. It was fourth down plays. It was great. I don't know what to make of Texas. I don't. I watched them play the 2 Georgia games. I watched them play the Michigan game, and I watched all of this game. At their best, I think they can play with anybody. They just don't get to their best very often. It's kind of the way that I view it. Quinn made some big-time clutch throws. I talked about the check down late in the overtime, in the first overtime on fourth down that led to the touchdown that gave him life and a chance for a second overtime. But he also threw a pick that was pretty brutal. He missed some guys deep. He had a couple of guys really deep, and he just missed them. It doesn't seem like he's been the same since the injury midseason in terms of being able to drive the ball down the field. I know it's going to be a home game, but I kind of like Ohio State relatively. If right now it feels like relatively comfortable in this one. It opened at 4.5 is where it was. Let me see what ESPN Bet has it as now, if that's even crept up a little bit. Do we have it already on the board?
I see it at 6 per our friends at ESPN Bet.
Oh boy, it is all the way up to 6. So it opened 4.5 and is already Buckeyes by 6. I was texting with Jake and Tyvis last night, and my hunch was I said Ohio State minus 6.5. Yeah. It does feel a little bit like Texas is still just kind of happy to be there. If you listen to Quinn and Sark last night, it kind of feels like this is where we're supposed to be. Well, dude, you should have been up 21-3.
They just can't put anybody away.
No.
It feels, for me, Texas is like, it's a when for Texas. Like, when's it going to come back to actually bite them? And I thought that was yesterday. Whew, they escaped. And that's the word. They escaped. And that's, I think, the most entertaining, at least from a unbiased perspective, the college football playoff. I know Ohio State fans appreciate the hell out of the first 2 games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I didn't have Texas-Arizona State being the non-biased, most entertaining game of this so far.
It was the biggest line of the quarterfinal round.
Yep.
It was 13. The one tonight is a pick'em. This afternoon, rather, is a pick'em. Pete Sampson covers Notre Dame. Great friend of the program. He'll coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Efforting our good buddy Pete Sampson down in New Orleans, covering the Irish at the Athletic. It was just surreal for me, up here. I cannot imagine down there coming through that information and trying to understand what your day was while the rest of the world kind of moves on. ESPN, of course, they're covering their bowl games. They got a magical one in Texas and Arizona State, and then that's followed up by Ohio State and Oregon, which is the marquee game of the day. All the while trying to decide what was going to... I did think Laura Rutledge was incredible in her reporting on the ESPN side of it, and the information that she had and was willing to give. I thought it was weird. ESPN was really late to get the information out there. There's a guy who I've known of for 20 years, did some stuff with him a long, long time ago down in New Orleans. I think his name's Travers Mackel, who him and his brother, longtime New Orleans media personalities, a longtime sports guy down in New Orleans, and he had it relatively quickly that the game was going to be postponed. And it took everybody else quite a while to kind of catch up to it. And I actually retweeted it because I said he ought to know. And with something like that, that's going to come from somebody who is locked in the New Orleans area. It was surreal how it went from random act of violence to terrorism to, my God, we've got to shut down the city. I've been to New Orleans. I've spent more time in New Orleans than in any other city I haven't lived in my life, if that makes sense. So take aside the cities that I've lived in, where I've had like a permanent residence. I've spent the most time in New Orleans in any city in the world through all of the events that I've covered there. I've spent probably 100 nights of my life at least in New Orleans over the 20 plus years I've been covering major college sports and the Super Bowls. What Paul said is on point. The teams stay right on Canal, right at the gateway to the French Quarter. The media is usually down in the warehouse district. They're down at the other end. There's a Marriott down there that the media is usually in. But the two teams are right there on Canal Street, and my hunch would be within a block of where this incident happened, if they are the Marriott and the Sheraton, as they typically are when you play a game down at the Sugar Bowl. Pete Sampson was in the middle of all of it. Pete, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot imagine what yesterday was like for you. Why don't we start there? Can you take me through as you became aware of the situation in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, I heard you mention the hotels. Like, the media hotel is the Sheraton now. So we're 2 blocks away from the attack. And it's like I'm 47, not staying up till New Year's. You kind of cash out, and then you wake up, and your phone has exploded. And so, yeah, it was just a bizarre day of waiting around, not really knowing what's going on. It's like, is the game going to get played at all? You're trying to account for everybody, both the team you're covering, your colleagues who are down here as well. It was just a very strange day. It was exhausting without really doing anything, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. It absolutely makes sense. When did it become apparent to you that the game would be moved?
I would say probably about 2 hours before it was announced. I'd sort of been checking with some sources around Notre Dame, and they'd said, like, it's definitely postponed, probably going to be at 3 o'clock local time today. That proved to be the case, but obviously there's so many things you got to move through. And I think that the tell for me that there was no way they could play last night was like when they're still searching Bourbon Street for explosive devices. And it's like when you sort of have that level of uncertainty, I think you rightly should call it off, or at least push it off by a day.
Pete, was it very much a, lack of a better term, shelter in place? Like, were the streets just empty?
Not empty, but I mean, it was just eerily quiet. I'm sure you've been down here, and it's just like, it's like constant revelry all the time. And like, I walked around a little bit yesterday afternoon, a little bit yesterday evening, and it's like you would see some people, but everyone is just sort of in hushed tones and quiet, and like that's very against what New Orleans is all about. So that was the weird part for me. It's just like, and obviously the police presence was everywhere. You couldn't go a block without seeing a police car with its lights on. It's just like kind of a show of force and safety down here. So that was also quite apparent yesterday walking around.
Did you feel safe walking around yesterday, this morning?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's so many people moving around now that it feels normal-ish. But yeah, I think yesterday it's like Bourbon Street was closed off. You sort of follow the news, see what's going on. Like, you stay away from Bourbon Street, but like on the south side of Canal, just, you venture that way. It felt quiet, but it felt safe.
Pete, from a decision to move the game, we had Paul Finebaum on about an hour ago, and he mentioned his bosses, and very candidly, that his bosses obviously would have preferred to play this game at night. How much of a emphasis, how important was it for once you, and by the way, that Marcus was incredible with his availability yesterday on ESPN, with the grace that he showed of balancing that grief and all of it, but also like coaching a football game. We got Penn State's kind of waiting, like, how much of a push was it from the two coaches to say, hey, man, we got to get this thing in?
I think quite a bit. And I think the earlier kickoff is the coaches saw that as significant because, like, Penn State, just like to put this in football terms only, Penn State already had one extra day. Now they have 2 extra days. I think and I believe, I don't know what Notre Dame's plans were prior to December 30th, but I know Georgia, if they won, they were flying home that night. If they lost, they were staying here. So I think that sort of gives you some insight into a team's mindset about like how much preparation matters and kind of how every hour counts in that kind of situation. So yeah, playing it earlier, then you get back to campus. I mean, school's obviously out, but like having that extra day and not landing at 4 a.m, I think was really significant to both coaches, especially the winning one.
Talking to our great friend Pete Sampson, covers Notre Dame at The Athletic. Was there any, and I saw this from the Louisiana Attorney General saying, I'd like another day. Was there any talk of that last night, to your understanding, of maybe another day or even moving the venue? And then furthermore, of moving the Orange Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not that I had heard of. I mean, I'm sure they had conversations while they're making the decision on like to do it today, when you want to do it, that playing Friday or, could have been an option. I don't know how you move the venue for this one. I also think, like, we're talking about preparation, how important that is. Like, it's not that different from when you play a Saturday and your next week's opponent played Thursday 72 hours before. So I don't think it's, moving the Orange Bowl, because then, like, if you move the Orange Bowl, or you move the national championship game too. I don't know how you do all that. So, I would think you just sort of roll with it and make the best of the situation. And that was play mid-afternoon so you can get back to your campus if you're the winning team and get ready for the Orange Bowl against Penn State.
Pete, was there what was yesterday like for the Irish? How did Marcus decide to handle the day and keep his team alert and ready? It's a lot of sitting around, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they sheltered in place for most of it. They actually were about a half mile from where the media hotel and the Georgia team hotel are. So they were a bit removed from the chaos around Bourbon Street, but they stayed at the hotel. They're at the Hilton. They had offensive, defensive meetings, special teams, kind of, but not really a walkthrough. I know Georgia sort of got out a little bit and moved around, but Notre Dame decided to sort of just like hang at the hotel and kind of go over stuff. And the way Marcus described it on SportsCenter, it was much more of like, hey, let's just like make sure we're in the right space mentally and physically, opposed to, hey, let's take one more look at Georgia.
we're going to play a game. It's going to be this afternoon. What do you anticipate seeing?
That's a great question. Before all this, I picked Notre Dame to win. I think that the quarterback disparity is kind of a deciding factor potentially. And I'll be honest, after watching the other three quarterfinals, the team that played most recently was on fire early, and the team that had been sitting looked like they didn't know what had hit them. And I think that's the formula for Notre Dame to win today. It's get up early so then Georgia's huge offensive line and power running game can't lean on you in the fourth quarter. So I think Notre Dame will come out and try to attack and jump up early. I think that's their best path to winning today. And I think with sort of a little bit more freshness, they're kind of equipped to do that.
Pete, my 30,000 feet, it feels to me like the under and slugfest is kind of where I'm.
Total rock fight. Yeah.
Okay. That's your feel too?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's Notre Dame offensively, they love to run the ball, but I think it's going to be a lot of Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, 2 yards, -1 yards, 2 yards, 0 yards, 57 yards. And then that's it has to be a chunk play run game for Notre Dame to have success because they don't push the ball vertically in the pass game at all. They're one of the worst teams in the country at that, but they're outstanding when they just stick with the run and then create a crease. And I think that for how talented Georgia is, they're defensively just something is a little bit off with them, where if you play with their eyes a little bit, which you can do with a running quarterback and Jeremiah Love, then you can crease them a few times, and that might be all that it takes today for Notre Dame to win.
Pete, I'll get you out of here on this one, buddy. What is your sense as you talk to folks that cover Georgia of what to expect from Gunnar Stockton today?
I'm not sure that they really know because it's he was okay in the SEC championship game against Texas, but it's real conservative. Did not look like a quarterback who had passed for 4,000 plus yards his senior year of high school. So I'm not sure that they really know. If I was Georgia, I would be a lot of 2 tight end sets, roll him out, some play action type stuff, try to get as big as possible. And that's not Notre Dame's best defense. They're better off when you try to 11 personnel them and Notre Dame gets to play nickel. When Notre Dame has to go base, not that they're bad, but that's not their best personnel set. So I think that if I was Georgia, that I would make Gunnar Stockton a game manager. I would play a lot of 2 tight end sets. Oscar Delp, their tight end, I think is outstanding. Doesn't have a huge stat line this year, but that's somebody to watch for Georgia, at least from my point of view.
Pete, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate you. Get home safe, buddy. Thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate you.
All right, that's our buddy Pete Sampson. Covers Notre Dame at the Athletic on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. What a surreal day down in New Orleans yesterday. 3 things on a Thursday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The Daily Show is brought to you by Safe White Auto Glass. Coach, what a way to start the Rose Bowl. That's exactly what you envisioned, right?
Well, we wanted to start and send a message early in the game, and then come up for air at halftime, and then win the second half. I felt like we did that, early on. The middle 8 there didn't go the way we wanted to, but we knew that this is a good team. And I think coming out of the last game we played, we had to make some adjustments on defense, special teams, and then on offense as well. And I feel like we did that going into the game. So we'll enjoy this for a little while, and then it's on to Texas.
Was your defense as good as your offense to start?
Well, yeah, anytime you look at 8 sacks, negative yards rushing, I think there was 13 TFLs. I mean, that speaks for itself. And we got to a point where, we were up by 3-4 scores, and so we wanted to just kind of rush 4 and keep it in front and see if they'd be willing to kind of work the ball down the field. We felt like, by forcing them to do that, we would be able to, kind of run out the clock, which is kind of what happened there in the second half.
Another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Brian, let me ask you about the turn of this team the last couple of games. What has kind of spurred you, for lack of a better word?
Well, I just think that, when you play a long season, there's twists and turns along the way. You learn about yourselves in different games, and you're seeing a team that cares a lot about each other, that's resilient. And, in life, it's not always going to go the way you want it to. And sometimes you understand why, sometimes you don't. But you got to identify the things that in a win go well, and you also have to figure out the things that don't go well and get those fixed. And certainly in a loss, it's even more multiplied. And we make sure that every time we come out of a game, we identify those things. But when you have a group of people around you that care and that have high character, they stick together during times of adversity. And so, we still got a lot of football to play, and we want to fight to stay together. And that's really all the focus is on.
Good luck in Dallas. The Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. The best hair on the air. You were listening to Bishop and Friends.
Saw this from John Wilner, longtime Pac-12 writer. Just was up with John Casano out in Portland. He had a tweet on December 2nd. It will become readily apparent this week that Oregon is better off losing the Big Ten title game, which seems to suggest the format needs a tweak or two. Quote, the #1 seed is not the ideal scenario that you might expect because the number 8-9 winner could very well be a 2-loss team from the SEC, or it could be Ohio State. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That aged
right.
well.
Probably tells you your format's a little bit broken. The Big Ten is 8-5 in bowl games. The SEC is 7-5. 2 more today. The other Power Fives. The ACC a robust 2-9. The Big 12 is 4-5. The AAC is 6-1. The MAC. Mighty Mac.
Hell yeah.
4-2. Good job out of you. What do you have on the poll today, Reese?
Daily Fan Poll asks, what impressed you more about Ohio State's 41-21 win over Oregon in the Rose Bowl? Offense or defense are your 2 options. Special option for both. It could be if you'd like to go back and do the fan poll, but 57% of respondents say it was the defense that impressed the most. The offense was impressive, but 43% for the offense there.
Yeah, I think that was it. That's what was different. The defense was different from the last time around. Offensively, other than to be able to run it with more efficiency, it was very similar. Very similar experience from the first time around. All right, time for 3 things on a Thursday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me, it has to be some sort of perfect combination of elevation, sunlight, sunset, backdrop, whatever it is. There is nothing in sport that is more beautiful than a Rose Bowl picture. The still frame of Jeremiah Smith running into the end zone with a 2 behind and those palm trees coming up over the top of the stadium. If you've not been out there, and as a kid, I could never wrap my head around it. Like, how tall could those palm trees possibly be? The Orange Bowl is a bowl in the ground. So that's how that works. So that's how the palm trees grow up bigger than that. There's incredible homes that are right on this kind of cliff that's kind of adjacent to it that can actually look into it. The photography from there is undefeated. If you ever get a chance to look, if you're looking for Buckeye images or whatever, find them from a Rose Bowl game. They are as pristine and perfect as ever. It must be just the perfect place to capture images.
Yeah, if you wanted to show somebody who'd never seen or heard of college football before, that's the image. And that's likely, heck, last night could have been the game if you're an Ohio State fan. This from Matt Baker, who covers college football. New Orleans mayor says Bourbon Street's going to be reopening before the Sugar Bowl today, which starts at 3 local, 4 o'clock Eastern. You can find the Dogs and the Irish. The game itself will be over on ESPN Columbus. That's 1460 on your AM dial. My eyes got real wide when I remembered the Super Bowl is going to be there next month.
Yeah. I covered the one after 9/11. It was surreal, to say the least. I don't know if I would open it. I understand that I'm sure the businesses got to make some money. I just think that's a lot, man. That's a lot soon.
On this topic, Bodie Wells, you got jobbed, pal. This game was supposed to be at 8:45 yesterday when Bodie Wells had nothing going on with his evening.
Oh, no.
And as I now check the schedule in my hand, you hear this paper? I got the schedule, and I see here Thursday, January 2nd, I go to Bodie Wells' name, Buckeye Show. 6 p.m. start time. Bodie, somebody's got to be a good teammate out there listening to this right now. Somebody's got to give Bodie a ring and say, hey, man, I got your shift. You just get me one sometime. No, I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Well, no, you're Notre Dame.
Certainly not.
No. So I need to be there. I'm the 12th man tonight.
Let me ask you this. Does it make it better or worse? It is only a half an hour Buckeye show tonight because of Blue Jackets hockey. Pregame at 6:30 on the Fan.
What quarter do you think they'll be in 2 hours in? Because you know what? These games are taking forever.
Yeah, it's
these halftimes are like 40 minutes.
Let's start at 4 o'clock.
It's at your 6 o'clock is Buckeye show?
Mm-hmm.
You might be right around half.
So we'll get to see the end, but there's going to be a half-hour chunk where if Tim Hall cusses, Bodie's not going to know about it, and you guys might hear it.
He's not going to be aware at all. Number 2 for me. So my wife has this, and as long as I've known her, this has been this thing. Like I've got it. She always insists on us having pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day. I did not have any of these traditions as a kid. There was nothing that said it was good luck to eat pork and sauerkraut. So I don't really like either one of these things other than bacon. I'm down with bacon. I don't mind sauerkraut on a brat, but that's kind of the extent of it. So I did it. I did it we did the pork schnitzel. We did some sauerkraut, mashed potatoes, all of it. And then an hour after dinner, the boys are like, can we order some Wingstop? Get some wings? Yes. Yes, you can.
Speaking of the Blue Jackets, so they're playing the Red Wings tonight at 7 o'clock. Like I had said, 6:30 pregame right here on the Fan. It's the first of 5. They're going to be available locally on broadcast channels, which I'm really excited about because growing up, Channel 53 was UPN Columbus. The idea that I can watch the Blue Jackets with rabbit ears is great. And if you've listened to this show in any form or fashion over the last couple of years, you know my dislike for Bally Total Fitness Sports Ohio, now FanDuel Sports, and their terrible app and terrible coverage. More of this, please. This is the first of 5, but let's make this a thing, not only this season, but next season. More and more games available to those who still use the rabbit ears. It's how you grow your fan base if that is something you're actually interested in doing.
Yeah, that's coming. There are a lot of teams starting to do that.
I'm fully convinced that Wednesday is the worst day of the week to have Christmas and New Year's. If it were any other day, you could just turn it into a 3 or maybe a 4-day weekend if you just punt on Monday or Friday, if it's Tuesday or Thursday. So the fact that it's Wednesday and you're sitting at home feeling like it's Saturday, but you only get one day of the weekend because then you got to turn it right back around and go into work the next day or, depending on what you do. This year, Wednesday is the worst. And you heard me earlier as we did the Beat the House, trying to figure out, hey, the Bengals and Steelers play tomorrow. No, they don't. It's not the weekend yet.
I couldn't agree with you more. This will be the third for all of us. It's been backwards. The midweek stuff is backwards. The NFL games on Christmas Day, it's all been just really backwards. I've enjoyed a lot of it, but it's been a real sprint the last couple of weeks. The one thing that was very satisfying is what we saw last night. The celebration of that will continue with Rothman and Ice up next. We are back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com. Use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. Semifinals, here we go. Buckeyes are a 6-point favorite over Texas. Minus 225 on the money line. Over-under for the game is 54. Ohio State is now the betting favorite to win the national championship at plus 115. Texas 3-1. For your Prime Sports Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Always still look at myself as a high-performing athlete, even at 40 years old. And so I want to go able to run fast and do things that I could 15 and 20 years ago. And it was getting to the point where the pain was starting to limit that.
Pain attacks people from all walks of life, not just former professional athletes like Bobby Carpenter. That's where QC Kinetics non-surgical treatment steps in.
And now that the pain is gone, I've been able to go and do the stuff that I love and run fast and run sprints and try to get back to where I was.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments use your body's own healing properties to deliver long-term relief without surgery.
Now, being able to go and work out and do the stuff that I want to do and challenge my body, it's made me a better person, a more pleasant person to be around.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Buy one, get one specials from Meijer help make life a good deal better. Plus, save on items that may help you keep your New Year's resolutions. Meijer Wellness brand vitamins and supplements are buy one, get one free. Select protein products are buy one, get one 50% off. And Rubbermaid Take-Alongs storage products are buy one, get one 40% off. Get your new year off to a good start with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app.